I saw this one, yep.
Very few Americans realize that if Trump is not elected, this will be the last election. Far from being a threat to democracy, he is the only way to save it. Let me explain it. If even 1 in 20 illegals become citizens per year, something that the Democrats are expediting as fast as humanly possible, that would be 2 million new legal voters in 4 years. The voting margin in the swing states is often less than 20,000 votes. That means if the Democratic Party succeeds, there will be no more swing states. Moreover, the Biden-Harris administration has been flying asylum seekers who are fast-tracked on citizenship directly into swing states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Arizona. It is a sure way to win every election. America then becomes a one-party state and democracy is over. The only elections will be Democratic Party primaries. This already happened in California many years ago following the 1986 amnesty. Mm-hmm. The only thing holding California back from extreme socialism and suffocating government policies is that people can leave California and still remain in America. Once the whole country is controlled by one party, there will be no escape. Everywhere in America will be like the nightmare that is downtown San Francisco. Then Cuban responds, if you want to go back one, there you go, Rob. He responds back and says, Elon, there will come a time when you need something from Trump. You will think you will have earned the right to ask and receive. You have been a loyal, faithful soldier to him. You have supported him politically with tens of millions of dollars. Then at the point you need him the most, you will find out what so many before you have learned. His loyalty is only to himself. So, when you see that, I give my response. I said, in other words, Kamala owes you many favors. 2, you trust that Kamala Harris will 100% deliver on her favors she owes you. 3, you were expecting a job from Trump in 2016 and didn't get it. Or 4, you're assuming Elon is wired like you. What is your thoughts, Vivek, when you see this interaction?
So we're taking a look at the Patrick Bet-David podcast today, and he recently had as his guest Vivek Ramaswamy, who, as you know, was a candidate, presented himself as one of the nominees or one of the candidates to become the nominee for the Republican Party. And Vivek is a clever guy, no doubt about it. And he says the right things. He absolutely says mainly the right things. I have my doubts about him. I don't know why. Well, I have. I kind of do know why, but I'm not going to say them right now. Because he's a newcomer. You know, we haven't seen enough of him. But he certainly says the right things. And he's a clever guy. He's very well spoken. He gets his point across generally very well. And anyway, about that little Twitter spat there between Elon Musk and Mark Cuban. Yeah, Elon just laid it out like it is. That was a brilliant, simple, to the point, brilliant analysis of the situation. And Mark Cuban basically, replied saying, Trump will dump you. You think you're going to get something from Trump by kissing his ass now, but he won't be loyal to you. But that just goes to show how Mark Cuban thinks. Elon probably doesn't give a shit, pardon my French, if Trump is loyal to him. Why would he care? Do you think Elon wants a post in the Trump administration if there is another one? The guy, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but why would he care? Maybe Mark Cuban, Elon just cares about the future of the United States. Maybe that's what it is. And he doesn't see things the way you do.
Look, I actually love authentic, no holds bar, take off the filter interactions. And I think the beauty of X, right, which Elon bought, is that you can have these exchanges out in the open. So I give Mark Cuban, he's going to take some criticism for it, but he's got the guts to say what he wants. Elon is like so many other business people who are too afraid in corporate America of being canceled for their views. You know what he told the advertisers? To go screw themselves, F off, basically, is what he told them. And so I think it's just great when we have more of these gloves off, straight up pummeling conversations. Now, I'll tell you this is about Elon is both of those things that those two guys said can be true, right? Where Mark Cuban says, you're not going to get something from Donald Trump for it, which may reveal that that's not actually Elon's motivation. Elon's motivation is that he cares about the future of the country. And so there's two different visions of American politics. One is where you're dealing with politicians as puppets, pieces on a chessboard. And you got the people who are wielding those interests, moving them on that chessboard. That's one vision. And that exists. I mean, that is a real sad, dark reality of how a lot of American politics works. And then there's the separate version, which is the idealistic vision, which is to say that I have certain shared ideals, And Elon and Donald Trump don't agree on everything. Donald Trump and I don't agree on everything. I think the part of the coalition that President Trump has built this time around especially is it's a group of people who don't agree on 100% of every last issue, but still agree on the basic principles of how the country is supposed to work. Free speech and open debate. Meritocracy. The best person ought to get the job, not based on their race or their skin color. You actually have to have self-governance. It shouldn't be bureaucrats running the country, but elected representatives. The rule of law, that's a big one. I mean, that relates to this whole issue related to the immigration crisis. Elections we can trust and believe in. Those are basic rules of the road. And we're united around that. Great. I'm not expecting anything in return. I just want to see that happen for the country. I think that's where Elon...
Yeah, very good point. The ground rules, well, there were ground rules, as they call them, or the rules of the road, as Vivek said, the basic rules underlying how the United States works. Yeah, they existed for, 150 years, 200 years, something like that. But they have been completely dismantled, or they're in the process of being dismantled or attacked, and that has been going on for several decades now. And that is a problem. That is absolutely a big problem.
Well, I think it's most ironic to see who's in Trump's corner these days.
We're being very political right now,
Yeah.
so this is like very safe talk so far. So
Oh, well, maybe I'll be a little controversial then.
I like you calling this out, Patrick. That's
Can we
good.
pull
That's
up that quote again? Elon's spot on with what's going on with the border. I mean, I think that whatever's happened with the border sort of disqualifies the never was the border czar, Kamala Harris, from actually protecting the border. But the part of this, let me explain forever, that even if 20 illegals become citizens per year, something that Democratic are expediting, seemingly possible, that would be 2 million new legal voters in 4 years. There's been talk of this for a while. The one thing that Cuban gets true is Trump does demand loyalty. I mean, I don't know if he, asked for your hand in loyalty or anything like that, but that is sort of something that you hear about Trump, is that there's a one-way street to loyalty. We've heard it. We've heard people talk about this. How many people have come through the Trump administration that said, I cannot support this guy? Generals, the list goes on and on and on. But if it's a binary choice, which it is at this point, I mean, Kamala has disqualified herself, in my opinion, but it doesn't mean that Trump is perfect. So
Yeah, let me say this word, because this comes up a lot
Yeah.
with Donald Trump, and people use it mostly as like a negative to say that he wants loyalty. Let me frame this in a different way, which I think is closer to the mark. I think if you're an executive, right, and Patrick, we'll just bring this back to the business setting. You have a mission at a company. You want people who work at the company who are aligned with that mission. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person if you're not. Let's say your mission is, I don't know, making water bottles. Maybe you could think about a different example. Maybe your mission is you have a steakhouse, okay, and you want to serve excellent steak. You want people who are aligned with that mission, not somebody who's opposed to the existence of a steakhouse. That doesn't mean that person doesn't have the right to have that opinion. It just means they shouldn't be working at your company. Well, the same thing I would say of running the U.S. government. You have a vision for the country. You have a way you want to run the show. You want to thin out, let's say, bureaucracy. You want to limit the number of federal regulations that are being passed by bureaucrats. You don't want people who are working for you who believe in a different vision for the country. That doesn't mean they're bad people. That doesn't mean that they don't enjoy the same rights as every other American. But who on earth would say that I'm running as an executive an entire set of departments, but I have people who are unaligned with the mission that I'm on? So there's a difference between loyalty in the sense of like, okay, you have to sign. No, I did not when I endorsed Donald Trump. I was not asked to sort of do a blood oath.
No blood oath.
Okay, there's
exactly.
no blood oath. All right, we did not cut
This is the mafia.
our arms and bleed together. No, that was not that kind of
Like The
loyalty.
Hangover.
But the question is, are you aligned with the same mission? That doesn't mean you can have some disagreements. Of course, I said earlier, we don't agree on 100% of issues. Elon and Donald and you have a bunch of other people and Trump who are supporting Trump don't agree with him on every other issue, on every individual issue. But are you aligned on the basic mission? I do think you got to be loyal to the overall mission of making America great again, of reviving our constitutional principles. And I think that that's, again, like so many things with the media, been perverted to mean something very different, as though it's some type of personal thing.
Yeah, I mean, you earned that, right? And what's the earning? Moral authority. How do you get moral authority? By delivering on your promises. If you're doing your part and you're setting the example, then the expectation for loyalty goes higher. This is So
yeah, Vivek made a good point there. It's I don't really like the metaphor of running the country like a business. I think that leads to all sorts of very poor decisions for a country. And that's a typically Republican approach often, or a Conservative Party approach, for example, in the UK, which has led to a lot of problems. Has caused a lot of problems because I'm no anti-capitalist, but let's face it, big corporations have been rapacious in America, and we do not want the country run in the way that these big corporations run their affairs. Absolutely not. And we want the big corporations out of government anyway, because they have enormous power over the process, the government process, the governing process through lobbying. Lobbying, as we all know, corporate capture is a real thing. But to get back on track, I think Vivek did make a good point. Yeah, of course you want people on your team who are aligned with your vision. Question is, does Donald Trump have a true vision? And does he have the energy to try and implement the vision? And does he have the ability to find people who align with him? Because, I was a big fan of his as he was running for his first term, and I was happy when he got elected. But he made a lot of bad decisions when it came to choosing the people to surround himself with. So we'll see. Vivek makes a good point. As I said, he's clearly an intelligent man, well-spoken, says the right things. We'll see. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, I hope you will like and subscribe because it really helps me grow the channel and to keep making more videos like this.